Welcome everyone. Welcome back to a new training that we're doing on Microsoft Excel. The primary purpose team is to get a lot of perspective on data as we look at from how we hold it and how we view and how rather analyze and predict models. So this becomes very important team. And one of the most important building blocks is a Excel sheet and how we go about with it. So when we talk about Excel team, before we get there, most importantly, it is about what we are talking about. And this is all data. So data that we store, data that we need, how do we put that into what sections and how do we present that? Are you all able to hear, team? I'm getting a couple of messages saying can't. One minute, please. Kiran and Priya. Clearly, everyone? Okay, if you have any challenge, let me know, please. Because looks like for everyone in the audience, clear, please check at your end. So data is important, team. What kind of a data? And what is data? So data or information are the key values that we hold to any person, object, or a thing that can describe it. So, for example, it can be data can be, let us say, let's take some simple examples, team. This will make our life easier. And the whole learning itself, let's do with some examples. So the first, let's take a text document. I don't know if I've created something in our folders. So C drive, training. I'm going to create a new folder for us. Call this as Excel. And in this, let's say I put in a new, just a simple text document. And also this is data one. So let us put some content into it, team. Content that I want to store. Now, content could be any type of information. Let us say in terms of I always hesitate when I'm coming up with examples. Okay, let's do some simple one. Let's talk about a contact that we have in a personal and professional. So how do we store data? So what kind of a data is the first question? We want data that looks like a name and a number, maybe. So name and a number, when I enter it, it becomes very easy for us to be able to do the same thing. So I can simply enter this data in here and say I have A and the number is 123, B is, let's say 124, C is 127, D is 128. Let us say they're more like room numbers also where we have. Okay. Now, these are data that we have stored as a text for ourselves. Now, when it is simple data, team, there is no problem with it in reading or understanding it. But when it becomes a little bit more complex data, then it gets more issues for us, team. So let's talk about some data that you can help me fill, team. I have created a very simple sample form. Let me share that quickly with you all. So it's a Google form. Where would I put that? Okay, I think in the doc. No, I just created one. Oh, it was already in the Excel. Correct. There we go. So this form, I'm going to put it to you in the chat message team, the link for it. There's no real content, so just sample data that we're looking at. How do I send this form? Send, copy link, copy, and let's put this data here. All there. Let me know if you're able to come up to the same page that I'm showing up here, team, for you all. And there's no rocket science in what we're going to go through. It's going to be very, very simple structured learning. Once we get into spreadsheets, we're going to blast through it. So all I'm doing here is submitting some responses. So I will say name is Sam, age is, I already used Sam. So I'll say this is Mark, age is 21, 22, donation is 40, and South as a zone, and submit this response. So each response that you are able to do at your end would come in here, team. And I should be able to see a few responses that is coming live. Can you help me fill a few more, team? And that data is something that we can look at. I put that link, everyone, on the chat. I've only got 4 responses. Can you put more than one, each of you? I'll try and put some more. I'll just say, we're going to use this data in the next 1-2 days, team. That's where we will get, we can build a lot of things around it. So let's see. We've got a few responses. Thank you. I've submitted about 3 myself. So a few of you have done a few. Let's see the responses, team. Now, what I'm going to do, team, is I'm going to download this. And did everyone enter all the data information? It's coming up to me nicely as the responses here. And I believe we can either download it or there we go. We'll talk about CSV, we'll talk about a lot of things, but let's look at this data. So the same data that we have is now come to us in something called as a comma separated value. Okay, so we've got some data. We've got a timestamp also about 26 rows. Maybe there's more coming in. Let's see. Is that it, team? I've got 26 responses. Have you finished? Can you submit a few more? It'll be easy for us for better data analysis later. Okay, so there we go. So we've got a few. And what I'm going to do, team, let's use this as our base. I'm going to copy this as a control A typically will do a selection on the specific data that you have. So if I do a control A, it's basically selecting what rows and columns. I'm going to take that. I'm going to open up a new spreadsheet, team, and we're going to put it into that. For this purpose, let's use the latest version, XLSX, and let's talk about this data. One of the first things that we're going to do is we're going to delete what we don't need in this. So the first thing I've done is the timestamp as a whole column, team. How do we delete a whole column? You basically click on it by selecting the column name. Now, very importantly for us to know, it is these column names. Oops. Did I select highlighter? Oh, there you go. These column names become headings for us as to where it is in spreadsheet, and these are the row numbers, team. So anytime if I want a specific data, for example, there is alpha out here, I need to or be able to look at uh, the cell for it. Now, can you all mention to me what is the cell that alpha belongs to that I've just highlighted? It is always nothing but a column name. In this case, what is the team? Everyone shouldn't take more than a second for you to answer. Where is alpha? And see, there is only one correct answer for it. 12 is not correct. 1 is not correct. What is that? 111. You're very precise. There's no column 2. There's no concept of column 2. There is B and there is 12. So that becomes B12. That's your cell number. Okay. I wish I could take notes for all that I'm speaking, but I want you to please do that at your end. Okay. So you have your columns and rows, cell numbers. Now, in general, you have a Excel workbook. Workbook helps you to store data in a much more efficient way. It helps you to analyze it also. Now, Excel workbook contains Excel sheet. Think of it like a website, and within website you have multiple pages. The same way, in here you will see the sheet 1, and I can continue to add more sheets to it. That basic information is enough for us to continue on it. Any questions so far? Anyone? All right. So practice this offline if you can as you're doing it, but most importantly, stay with the flow of what we're achieving. So sheet 1, I'm going to erase this drawing and let me save this. I'll save. And a lot of shortcuts that I'm using, team, I'm going to speak about it. Maybe that I'm not going in depth on it, but you'll have to keep capturing it, please. So let's go to C drive, training. I'm saving everything in this folder, that way it's easy. So this is a sample data 1, and that's what we're working on. So that gets saved as a workbook. I did Alt F8 for save as, and then I can just do a Control S to keep on saving. So most of the features that you'll see that we use will be on the menu bar. You can ignore the sign-in thing. I just have to update my passwords and get it done. But if you have a licensed version, that's great. If you do not have one, you can always use OpenOffice or even Google Spreadsheets. Now, if you notice, team, the earlier, this is what we were seeing as we kind of copy and paste it. When you want to look at a column and expand it to its full width, what you do is between those two, you get this separator icon, you double click on that. And then it's expanding that column specifically to that needed width. Now here, let us try and do the same. It shortens that column. So the same here, donation. So whatever little adjustment is there, that is done. Now, I don't want the timestamp column, let us assume. So I'm just going to select this and right click and delete. So what's important here is if the same content is there as text for us, look at how it is formatted. Now, how can I say that, hey, only delete this column? Is there a possible way for us? Not in text, not in Word document. Hence, you need to use Excel for a team, where you can put things organized as rows and columns. So all I'm doing is click on it, right click on it and say delete. That entire row has disappeared. Now, at this point, it's okay to save your sheet as you keep going or keep continuing your work. Let's save it so it's better for us. Now, do I have a little bit more content? maybe not. But what I will do, just for the assumption's sake, I'll copy some row. The way we have done is by selecting from which row and keeping your shift and using your arrow down all the way, or you can use the same with the mouse wheel. So then I do a control C, so selected the entire row. These rows, if you see horizontally, it's got a preset columns. If you keep going, it'll kind of expand. So we are not interested in how many columns and how many rows it has right now, the capability. In the limited ones, let us see what we have. I just copied and pasted. Why did I do that thing? The reason I did that is one of the most important things is as we scroll through this data, and it could be same one which is going extensively big. When I scroll through this data, I don't know what this column means. Is this donation? Is this age? Or is this age donation? It gets confusing sometimes. So what you want to do is be able to freeze your top row for it. Freezing is nothing but how you view your content. At the moment, it looks very small for us. So I'm going to zoom in. So that would increase the size of what we see. And now also accordingly, if you see, I still have to do a lot of scrolling down. Now, if I do you notice this line, border line that is still coming? Do you know why? Anyone? Why is it still coming? Hello? Copied. That's correct. Still selected. You copy from there. So whatever I copied is basically stuck there to our clipboard. You can hit an escape. I don't think escape. Yeah, escape is working. It'll take that selection away. Now I want some clarity, team, visually. This is my heading. I want it to look bigger. I want it to look better. That's the simplest one where you could go to the home tab, and under the home tab, you have this ribbon, or what I call them as sub menu options. And you can do a lot in terms of the look and feel of it. There's more to it, but at least the look and feel to begin with. Definitely, I want to increase the font size. So I'm just going to use this saying increase the font size. Right now, they're all at a standard font, but now I'm increasing the font only for the header by selecting that. And then let me give a different backdrop color to it. So it will have a fill of that color at the back. That makes it a little bit more easier for the eyes to consume what data is. Now, did you see there's an overlap again on the text? Why did that happen? Primarily because we had, what's that I wanted to say? Overlap is the column width. So now I just go to between the C and D, look at it, double click again, get donation correctly, age is done, zone also. There we go. Now I still have not solved my scrolling issue where I want to freeze my top row. I'm going to select that. Rather, you don't need to select it right now, but for freezing only the top row, just that row enough. So I say data. Then I say, I'm going to view in this. So this is more in terms of how we are viewing, what we're going to view on it. So here I'm saying freeze pane. Under this freeze pane, if I click on it, I'll have a few options, team, and we are looking at top row. Anything going horizontally are all rows, and each of these are our columns. Let's get that clarity. Now what has happened? My first row is frozen. So I can just nicely navigate it through. Okay. And this becomes easy for us to look at data. Okay, whatever is there, where is it, and so on. Now, the next thing we could do is I can look at specific sets of data. And that is where comes the option for us to start filtering it out. I don't want to look at everything. And these are the key advantages that you'll see that flat files wouldn't have. The data is the same, but how easily can we see it? Can we retrieve it becomes important. Now, what are the fields that I want to filter? You basically apply filters for every field on your top row team. That way, you can set the column and say which one you want to filter. So for filter, what we do is we go to data and then click on this filter icon. So that would give us a certain opportunity. Now see what happens primarily in this case. This is not something we are doing with conditional formatting. That is a little different, but it's just applying little filters to it. Tick. I'm sorry. What was I thinking? Yes. So if I click on this icon here, it basically tells me what are or who are all there in this list. The unique names of it. Just to get a perspective. For the zone, you remember all of you had to enter or choose one of the four. So one of the four will be the only four options that you will see under zone. So right now, it is showing all the zones for us. But if I want to just view a specific zone, then I could search for it if I want, and I'll say East. So I'm not selecting anything, but basically I'm going for East and say OK. So now the records that I see are the ones which are only for East. So this is my simple filtering. Now the same if I say that I want East and West, for example. And here I've applied a filter that says that I've got the details for East or West out here. All right. So you could do filter to look at a subset of your overall data. Your data sometimes could be hundreds of thousands of rows. Then how do we do it? That's using a filter. Next one, everything can be sorted. I can sort them in a very nice fashion. So click anywhere, leave it anywhere you want. Specifically, when you're not sure, click on the cell A1. That will take you to the beginning of it. Now, what are we trying to do? Sort. So sort, let us see. Will it be under view? No, data. Tick. Not be under review. Home. There it is. It's already under home. So what I'm doing here is a sort and filter. It's actually got both out here. So I am going to apply the sort A to Z, and I've just selected name for it right now. Now it has taken name and it has selected the entire data in that pattern. Now the same sorting, if I go back and change it, let us say that I want Z to A of name, I got that. Now how about age? I want from the youngest to the oldest. So I go to age and I say sorted in an A to Z is an ascending order. So the youngest is 10, and as we scroll down, we can see we have the oldest being 52. Now let's look at the same sorting that we could do on a donation. So sorting is basically helping us with identifying where, what, and so on. So now this is from highest all the way to the lowest, and some are zero in it as well. This is our sample data and what we want to see. Good, everyone. Any questions? Simple data, text to columns, and how we contain them. This is, let's say, sample data. Any questions on that? Let's do some formulas here. Formula in the sense of functions we can say. Let's do a currency function, for example. I want to be able to calculate currency, a currency converter. That's the name I'm giving it to. Now, this currency converter will basically take currency 1, currency 2, and there will be conversion rate right now. And I'll say, give a scenario. This is becoming more like what I want. Scenario is currency 1. If I give, I should get currency 2 value. So let us say we want to do USD to euros as a regular conversion. I don't know what is it right now. I'll go to xc.com. And if I look at 1 USD to euro, it's let's take something more easier. This is too close a number team. You can take INR also. Let's take INR. So let's say it is 75.03. So let's get that into a data, USD to INR. And the conversion rate is 75.03. So now, what am I trying to say? So currency 1, if I say is this is in USD, I want the currency 2 in INR. Correct? All right. Oops. Now, just the feel of it. So how am I talking about? If I enter 100, how much will be the value here? 120, what will be the value here? 200, value here. And let us say 71.1, value here. So I have different scenarios that I want to talk about. Anytime I want to change the value in a field, you can double click on it, team, and you can type and say, I want to change this to scenario. The same thing, you can also look at this bar here and type it. The name of the cell as to where it is, the column and the row is going to be out here to your selection. That's A5 now. The most important thing that we cannot tolerate is the visual aspect right now, team. Visually, it is very confusing for us. It is not clear for me as to what is where and so on. So let's do some improvements on it that make it aesthetic. So see, currency converter is something that is common to these both columns. So either I can copy it and paste it in both, but again, it is duplicate. But I know it's going to be consistent for both, so I will merge them together. So I select them, then you go to your home, I think in your data. 1 second, please. Just actually right click and merge will be there. Where am I missing merge data? There we go. It's there as an icon, merge and center. It's right under the home itself. Merge and center would give you that power team, where this is now become one row that is occupying 2 columns. You could also do that vertically and say that here is the vertical conversion that we can say. So let us say I right click and I click. When I right click on a column and I say insert, it will insert a column before that. If I right click on a row and I say insert, it will insert a row before that. And you will notice as you play around a lot, if you right click or select on few rows and say insert, It will insert 3 above. Lot you could do with copy paste into it that makes things very super fast for us. So the reason I did this is here I will say this. These are my scenarios. Now my scenarios, I don't want to write it here in this row. So I'll click on this row, right click on it and say delete. Are you all with me, team? At least what we are doing, I'm sure you're going to practice this offline as long as you are getting the concept. Okay? Let's see. Any questions, anyone? Can I get a yes, go answer everyone? Everything good? All right, great. Thank you. So now what I want to do, team, I've deleted that entire row of scenarios. I want to merge this vertically. So I've selected again the cell. There is only data in one of them, team. If there's data in other, it will say, hey, I found data in the other. Do you still want to merge? You may lose that data. Let's see. So I went to home. I'm clicking on merge and center now. And I'm saying merge and center. Once I do that, it says merging cells only keep the upper left value and discuss other values. So taking only that value. So look at the alignment of it now, team, where they are aligned. So currency converter, for example, if I increase the width of this row, it is aligned at the bottom. This is also aligned at the bottom. Now, let's make it a little bit more interesting, this one. We can make this text vertical and all that. I'm not working on those right now, team. Just these. Okay, where am I? Here. So this and this, let's change that alignment. Back to home. And here you could basically see the alignment on the vertical side. Let's get it into middle. You can put them left aligned if you want or center aligned. But vertically, we put it into the middle. That's good. Let's give it some color as well now, team. That way, it's easy for us to look at it. But with hard background, a lighter font color would be nice. You don't have to use the same things every time. You can change them. And let's say that this is standard, so we're not changing this. And you can right click on them instead of going to home all the time. You would see most of the options here. All I'm doing is changing the color to a little gray. That way we know this is all hard coded. And so is this team. So basically what I want to say, shift. So, okay, how do you do this thing? So shift and then arrow theme always. If I'm going vertically, I'll do shift arrow like this and then control select. Click on it to select the other one. I'll try and keep repeating this tomorrow. That will be easy. I want to give the same background to all of these. See now, what has happened is in these cells, except for the ones where I get value, actually this also, I'll change the background to white. There's no fill. Everything else that is standard, we put it in gray. So it's not changing. This, maybe it's changing. So let's change this to yellow. Maybe red. Okay. Now, what are we saying, team? When we are comparing this, I need this to be multiplied by this value. I want to do a little bit more formatting before I do the others. So how did I delete the multiple rows? Okay. So if I want to delete, let's say this row 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I want to delete row 2 and 3. So I clicked on row 12, regular click, and then you keep your shift or control pressed. Shift will take the range, shift and then click, you've got all these rows selected. Then right click and say delete. Okay. Now here what I want to do, team, I want to give this table a little outline. There's no need for empty rows. I'm going to take this away. And here we have a lot of emptiness. I don't like it. But then let's do this. Right click, I'll insert one row above, and like currency converted, same format I'll copy here, put the scenario out here, or calculated, let's say. And there's other various scenarios, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Let it be there. I have this and this, right click, and what we're going to do is put some borders to it. Team. Start with all borders because it will divide all cell into each. In fact, you can take away these small bordering also for other cells. Keep that for now, team. Don't change it. And what we will also do is give this heavy border line. Kick outside border there, and let's give thick outside border to these. It also will be in the home border there, and you can do a lot of formatting in this thing. The features are kind of endless, but the basics should be implemented for us. All right. So now what is the intent? Intent is very simple. I want to take this value, and here, see, again, I have a need now. Right click, insert. I don't know which is USD, which is INR. So I'll say this is USD, this is INR. Too many orange colors. Let's change things to maybe a simple blue or a little dark blue. That's good. See, lost those borders. We have to redo the border, and that's why I come to the borders typically a little later. So USD INR. Now all I have to do is inside this, I'm going to type this equals this value star this value. Now simple addition team is easy. For example, in a simple data that we have, let us say I take only few of these rows. Okay. And I put it in here. And I want to add total donation here. So this will become the value. So this is nothing but this cell plus this cell plus this cell all the way to this cell. So manually we don't want to type all that. So what we do instead is I'll say equals sum of, and these are the functions, and give what we call as a range. Range is a selection. So you basically click your mouse and select that range team. And you can also type in the range, starting from which cell to which cell, C2 to C9. And that becomes the total value that you're going to put in here. So this addition is very easy. That's good addition that we could do on anything. So anytime, let us say this changes, your data below always keeps getting changed. So this, and then let's say I enter something, and I increase this to 20,000 here. So it is dynamic. It changes for us accordingly. So back here, now this is fine, team. 100 USD is so and so. They look very non-informative when we don't associate it with value, especially the currency team. You can always do that. Basically, right click on the selection, and you can say what type of data it is. So various types, team, not just about values or the dates, the other currencies, and so on. I'm going to take this currency value. And if you notice, it has by default added 2 double zeros after it. These are in case it requires decimal. Now let us say our data does not want too many decimals in it. You can decrease or increase the decimals this way. So this would be increasing the decimals, adding more decimals into it, and this would be reducing the number of decimal spaces you're storing. Okay. Now this is my answer. So B80 and C4. Now in a simple addition, let us say I have A, B, C. There is 1, 2, 4 values. And let's say here So this is day one, let us say what we did. And this is apple, banana, and carrot. And primarily what we ate. Let's say you ate two apples, you ate one banana, you ate one carrot. So total fruits and veggies that you ate equals sum of these three. And that's good for me. Now, the same one, if I copy this entire thing, look at it. I'm just changing this to be day two. And in fact, if it sees a pattern, it will automatically do that. I'm not having to write this formula again because earlier, observe this, B14 to B16. That means B14 is here, B16 is here. That's the addition of my range. Now, for the day two, when I copied day one by selecting copy and paste, it has automatically changed this to C column. Okay, did you notice everyone? And now if I update it here that we had 3, 0, 0, and we had 3 total in a day. Now the currency function, if I copy this formula where it's equals to B8 plus C4 and try and put it into the next cell, it will not give me the result. And the main reason being, team, it will try and keep looking at that pattern. So first you gave C4, next it will go to C5, then it will go to C6, C7. See, each time the formula, you want it always to be there at C4. It has to be frozen for that specific cell. So the formula, basically, you need to put a dollar sign before C and before 4. So whenever you copy, wherever you copy it, it will take that exact position. Now, the formula is here, everyone, B8 plus C4. Even if I paste it into these cells, it should reflect for me. So at any time I want to change something, I'll know what is happening. Okay, so this gives us a lot of visibility, flexibility, how we can do things. So most important, you have the filters. You can look at sorting data. There is also the duplicate of data team. Let me talk about it. So in this case, there are few things that are repeating. Do you see them? The data is getting duplicated. So what I can do is, first I think I've selected entire data by doing Control A. Go to Data tab. And under Data, let me see one second. View Data. Where did I miss it? One second. Should be in the data. There you go. See, it's an icon team. Some of them come with a good, word below it. Some of them just have an icon for it. And as you use it more often, it gets to become more frequently used options. So it will keep appearing. This is the icon for remove duplicate. So in my range, basically what I'm going to say is talk about the column where if it matches all these columns, then we will remove that cell. If it matches only a few, for example, in this case, Satish has put this if. Let us say Satish has did something else from West. Okay, and now I still want to remove that duplicate. So go back to data, click on remove duplicate, select all. So we're selecting all in this case. Certain cases you will note them as you go along. You'll unselect and only select a few. Say OK to it. And you would see that it has removed 32 duplicate values. Now, this is because of the fact that even though it had the same thing, it looked at, so see, there's no more Satish with, or there is Saish. Yeah, it is there, see, in West. That didn't get deleted. So how many records are there now? 26 records if we did like this. So if otherwise we had about 58 records, actually 57, but first one is the column name. What else is there? Let's see. I'm just thinking how we can do. I just want to talk about sheets, maybe the charts and graphs if I can. Any questions so far? A little conditional formatting also you can look at. All right. The team on the same one, let's also do some conditional formatting. It's going to be a little interesting, team. Now, I know this is sorted by donation. Let's undo this sorting. I don't think. Let's sort it by zone rather. So go back to view, data, sort, Z to A. Okay. And that's fine. So we have different data here in each one. So first by this, then by donation, then by name. It's kind of sorting it like that. Now, in this data team, if I want to specifically identify any outliers, let us say anyone who donated more than 100 or whose age is less than 25, how do we put such conditions into it? There we talk about conditional formatting. So I'm going to go into start with the first couple of them. So you talked about the highlight cell rule team. So we're saying the cell value should be greater than 15. So format cells that are greater than. So which one? We're looking at this column and say, okay, greater than, where is the value? 1 second. We need to select this. I'm just seeing which one to select. Okay. And the conditional formatting greater than there you go. See, so if I'm saying it is greater than, let us say in this case, I'm saying anyone greater than 40. Light red is the color that we're giving to it. So as you're navigating through, you don't have to specifically look at where is 40, and so on. That's one type of a condition that you could do. In the same one, what we could also do is advanced condition team. Conditional formatting saying highlight. So this I'll say is less than, or again, let's put 250 and fill with different colors, green fill or yellow fill. Say okay to it. So this gives us also some understanding of what's happening there. Okay. Why everything is got selected? Oh, okay. Most of it. Only few which are over 500 or not. What else was there in conditional formatting? Data bar. This is cool. But I think we have to select everything for data bar. Not sure it has to be selected or not. Let's try. So data bars are nothing but team. What you're doing, it will tell us that as a representative data. So let us say this green data bar or this red data bar. If you see whatever we did as highlighting, that was there. But apart from that, it will show you these bars like, if it is 52, this is the bar. If it is 16, the lowest. and so on. So no. Yeah, correct. It is looking at these numbers. But you could specifically project as to which one. This is all extra features team that make your data more presentable. This is shorter set of data, so we don't have too much to worry. But as it grows, as you can see, it becomes important. Let's see, couple more features, simple ones. Then we can do a few more tomorrow. Team. What can we insert? Let's insert for this a chart team. So the chart pie chart or a bar chart that we look at is a great, again, representational way of a data. So all I'm looking at is where I want it to be there. So I click there and I said insert and let's say recommended chart. Select the cells that contains the data you'd like to use. Sure. Selected, insert, recommended chart, and there we go. So this gives us options, like sum total of by zone or by name, which could be too long to recognize, or by a lot of categories that you could put in. As of now, it looks, and also it can give you projections as to if you give it some sample data, what does it look like? Pie charts are also good way to show which are what. Let's see. Control A, set, recommended chart. Let's do a regular chart for now. What's the difference between age by zone? Sum of age. We don't need sum of age. We can take maybe an average of age. That looks much better than sum of. So sum of donation by zone. And if I say this looks like my value. Now see, this has come totally into a new sheet for us team. It is no longer there in the sample simple data. But whenever you change that, so I can basically copy this sheet or this chart and paste it even into our main one here. So I want this chart to be present here as well. You could edit what you're seeing here, team, and that's fine. And see on the top, sum of donation. 1 second, I can't see this because it's go to webinar. Move to report filter, move to access fields. Now I did something wrong. I wanted to put the value on top. What am I doing? Where am I? Why am I not able to copy this? Go to webinar window is right on top of it, team. Zoomed in too much. You can change the size of it, of the specific one, and copy paste that anywhere you want. The most important aspect of it is the fact that when your content changes, you will see an immediate reflection of this. Where did it happen? It didn't reflect also this one. Should have changed here at least. How much did I enter? 15,000. Save this. Something is messed up with our sorry, the chart that we created. Let's do once again. Delete the sheet 4. Sure. Select this once again. Insert. And this is what it looks like. And it's inserted that here. Now the simple data that we see, I change this back to regular. Why is this not getting updated? Let's refresh data. There you go. So I manually basically had to come and refresh the data in this specific chart team. What I did is Whenever I make a change, I'm coming in, right-clicking on it and saying refresh the data for me. And it is bringing in the most relevant one. This helps us to again get a better view and look at content. So we've done that. We've seen little simple data and how we can play around. Some currency transactions that we could do. I don't think I have anything else for today, team. A few more simple things for tomorrow that we will target. Pivot table specifically, because there's a lot we can do about it. I use them extensively as part of our project management. So that will give us good clarity. But I hope you learned some of the basic things, team, that are there. And the shortcuts that I'll show you as we keep using. But more importantly, it is practice. You need to spend little time on this, not very tough. Play around a lot. Whatever you can write, try and write it down into a spreadsheet. Any questions, please, at this point? When we meet tomorrow, we'll continue on the same. I'm going to get few more examples. We'll play around, team. I may need your help again to create some fresh data. And I'm just teaching you from a perspective of what I know and how we need to store. You don't need to really go into deep. You must know and the basics on this, team. Thank you, team. SQL classes, yes. So basically, the idea is this. I want to finish Excel, then talk about databases, and I wanted to then talk about in programming what we do. So for example, I was doing the API training in the morning. Now, tomorrow I have to do JSON. So to understand JSON, we need to understand, array list, map, hash map, all of this. So that's why how we store data, why do we store, what is the purpose, and how do we want to present and view data is the whole reason. And just for your satisfaction, let me explain this to you, that the entire IT industry only required one software solution, and that was Microsoft Excel. There was nothing else ever actually required. Everything that you can do, including creating a form to enter data and all that, is put in here. Over a period of time, as customers started asking, can I see this data online? Can they interact with each other? And so on, we started building applications. This is the ground. All sessions are there on YouTube, team. So if you're signed in for the channel, you should get it. .com/QTP eLearn. That's the link. And let's see. There are the videos. Just this morning. There we go. API tutorial. That's the one from today morning. Even this video will go there, team. Only 1 or 2 sessions, all this training. After that, on the membership portal on the itlearn.com website. And we're working hard, team, to try and come up with a better solution on e-learning platform for how we learn through video. To improve on that, but it'll take a little time. But till then, hopefully these sessions are helping you. No link. I'll give it to you tomorrow. But okay, let me give it to you. So morning session, members are asking me something for the API session. So where is the link for SZ2 API for beginners? Get shareable link. That's the YouTube channel I just sent, team. Copy link and paste this and sending this as well. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you all back tomorrow. Take care. Bye all. Bye now.